We're here in Milan today taking a closer look at the Italian banking system into the elections on September the 25th and into a potentially very difficult winter in the economy as we head into this energy crisis and the impact it's going to have on corporates and the overall real economy. And of course, banks are very exposed to that. But the first thing to note is that the Italian banking sector today is actually in a much better shape than it was, say, back at the 2012 great financial crisis, or even versus where it was a couple of years ago. Capital ratios are sitting a lot higher. The likes of Unicredit and Intesa, the two largest banks, have CET1 ratios north of 14 percentage points. And this as these banks have become more profitable. Credit quality has improved significantly as well, including the likes of Endesa, for example. 8 percentage points non-performing loans in 2019, now sitting at around 3 percentage points. These banks have become a lot more discerning about their underwriting activity, lending activity, and also their ability to securitize the loans that are sitting on the portfolio. Another consideration that probably works in the Italian bank's favor is that with the ECB hiking interest rates, that will be a positive for these banks' net interest margins. On the flip side, however, there is lingering concern from the investment community about the sheer number of BTPs that are sitting on these banks' balance sheet. That sovereign bank feedback loop is still very much alive. And if there is any downgrade to the sovereign, then it is going to follow through that the banks also will perceive to be a lower credit. Another consideration, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the banks are very tied to the broader economy. A lot of the lending that takes place at an SME and corporate level does go through the banks. So if there is going to be knock-on effects from the energy crisis and you start seeing some energy firms or even industries go under or unable to meet their margin calls, this means that non-performing loans could start to rise again as well. And is one of the reasons why the Draghi government has been so insistent on providing liquidity support to the firms that need it. Now, one final word on Monte dei Paschi Bank. This is a bank that historically has been quite troubled in Italy. 2013 received a bailout. 2017 became nationalized, the state taking about a 64% stake in the bank. It has had several cash calls over the years, but it also has turned more profitable in the last couple of years. It also has reduced its non-performing loans. And so one of the major questions for the incoming government, potentially to be led up by the coalition of the right, is what to do with the state's ownership in Monte dei Paschi. And this is going to be a major theme going forwards for the banking sector because, as we alluded to at the beginning, Monte dei Paschi, given its increasing profitability and better balance sheet performance, is also ripe for acquisition. And there have been talks in the past couple of years that Unicredit may look to take over Monte dei Paschi, but they still have to agree on a price with the government, something for the government to consider in coming years.